In this episode of BEA Conversations, we are speaking with Jakki Govan, Chief Fund Officer of Clockwise Consulting. Jakki has been my boss, my mentor for over 15 years, and she is one of the first persons I will call whenever I have a little bit of confusion or disruption in the way I think, because she's known to be an out-of-the-box thinker. So Jakki, welcome to the conversation. And today we are talking a little bit about mental fitness to leadership. So what does mental fitness mean to you?
Okay, mental fitness means that you can pretty well handle anything when it comes to work and business. And hopefully that mental fitness in work and business helps you handle perhaps some of the ups and downs in your personal life as well.
We've definitely been through a lot of ups and downs the past few months, and also facing a lot of uncertainty. So for someone who is going into a leadership position, or if one is in a leadership position at the moment, who wants some form of mental fitness setup, what are some of your suggestions?
Okay, so I think everyone is quite different, and some of the things I say will work for some and some for others. But I think, first of all, it is to do a little bit of a litmus test, if you like, on what your current mental fitness is. And a great way of doing that is perhaps talk to some past colleagues and past bosses and have a really honest conversation with them, now that you're not working with them, to say, can you give me any feedback about what I can do better in the future? And sometimes that natural 360 degrees feedback can help you know at what stage you're at. So when we're talking about mental fitness, if people say something to you like, oh, nothing seems to ruffle your feathers, you seem very strong, you seem very confident, that's great. You're probably at a pretty reasonable level. And then have a think about what you think of yourself. Do you think that? Because what often can happen is there might be a perception of you and your mental fitness, and then there's how you feel about it. So it's great if you can get that a little bit aligned, if you can know where you need to be a bit stronger, and whether that's in your own beliefs about yourself or that's a reality check on what people have told you. If people tell you, well, you seem to get really emotional about work and things that happen at work, then that can also help you with what you might need to do in the future.
So how does one who is, going into a leadership role or in a current leadership role set up for mental fitness amongst all these chaos and uncertainty within our industry?
It's interesting, isn't it? Because, of course, you quite often don't realise you're mentally fit until you have to go through something a little bit like we've all gone through in the event and hospitality and tourism industry. And then you look back and you try and establish how you became so strong or mentally fit. And it's a little bit like physical fitness in many ways, of which I've been terrible at most of my life. But I look back now and go, if you've had a reasonably strong upbringing and your experience with bosses throughout your life has helped you become mentally fit, then you, of course, will become a mentally fit leader. And I think understanding that is pretty important. I read a great book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and I think that's one of the things that really rang true to me. Your circle of influence and your circle of concern. So anyone, get the book, read that chapter. If you have control of things, you can do something about it. If you don't have control of things, you can't. So often what you read in the media, you've got no control of. So keep up to date if you need to for your work or your family life, but if not, blind eye, so much of it is fake news anyway. And what you do have control of, which is your own health, physical, mental, perhaps the health and mental health of your friends, of your colleagues, of your boss. You've got a little bit of control in that area. So I would say, think about what you can really make a difference.
And also we know that fitness is all about having a balanced approach to the way we think or the way we act or what we set ourselves out to do. So any advice on achieving that balance and setting sort of like expectations for ourselves?
Absolutely. So everyone needs a way of winding down and switching off from thinking about work, not just doing work, but thinking about work. So the idea of I've come home from work, or I've left my work office in my house and gone into the leisure space in my house, and I just switch off is not possible for everyone immediately. It's very different to when someone might have been working on a factory floor or in a restaurant, and then they come home and they're no longer doing that task. When you're on the road to leadership, you're thinking about work a lot. And that's okay. Work-life balance doesn't necessarily mean to be switch on, switch off, but you need to give yourself a break. And whether that give yourself a break is having a glass of wine, doing yoga, going for a run, baking a cake, whatever it is, you do need to be able to switch some of those thoughts off.
Jakki, we spent a few moments earlier talking about not overthinking things, trusting the gut feel. Can you tell us a little bit more about that thought process?
Yeah, sure. So we all have 24 hours in a day. I'm a little bit of a scheduler. I like to schedule out about 40% of my working week, and I also schedule about 30% of my leisure activities. Now, that doesn't mean I say between 8 and 9 I'm doing this necessarily all the time, but it does mean that I've got hours allocated to do different things. Now, if everything I did, I had to think about it a lot before I even got into it, I would not achieve half of what I achieved. So one of the things I learned from a boss about 20 years ago or so was to go with your gut instinct, because it's not brain surgery. And quite often, your gut instinct is right. Now, that's a little different if you're sitting around with a group of people and you're brainstorming and so forth, because then you've got the decision too fast and that doesn't engage and it's not inclusive. But if you're on your own and you're coming up with a plan or you're coming up with a strategy, go for your gut instinct and save yourself a heap of time.
At Clockwise Consulting, you work with quite a few leaders, whether it's advising them on the next steps to take or reflecting on their brand values. What are some of the things that you have learned in terms of pathing towards illusion of success that we need to define right now in order to create that future?
Everybody's human. It's probably one thing that's fairly obvious, but certainly something I've learned. Most people have real issues with time management. Most people are too hard on themselves. And there's a bunch of other things I've learned. I work with some extraordinary people who have, amazing destinations or venues or products or services, and they all work incredibly hard. And I think that one of the reasons for many of their success, and also possibly my own, is if you surround yourself with people that will be completely honest with you, that you can ask the hard questions and really hear the answers, your mental strength can really increase.
Absolutely love that. Well, thank you, Jakki, for your time, and we'd love to hear more from you. So please take care of yourself, and we look forward to seeing you in person.
Thank you. I look forward to coming to see you in Singapore as soon as we're allowed to. And anyone out there who wants to connect with me on LinkedIn, ask any questions about mental fitness, please feel free to do so. Take care, Elle.